the summer of 2007, I lost 3 friends. How it happened, who was to blame, I had no idea, but in my heart I blamed myself for not finishing it, for not helping in time. All 3 were on drugs, and not standard ones, although I don't know for sure. Here we need to make a small preface. I was lucky to be born in this city, in this area. Why? Yes, because I met such friends. Initially there were 5 of us: Sam, my best friend, Ethan, Michael and Liam. We grew up together, went to school, went out with girls. Already when we grew up, Liam moved away from us, he found a girl who had money, and they went abroad together, so our contacts ended. There are 4 of us left. A lot of things happened, but our strong friendship did not collapse. Until one day, I remember that at that time everyone was fond of mysticism and the like. We have not bypassed this. They also read all sorts of books, tried to summon spirits, arranged otherworldly sessions. Nothing happened. At that time I met a beautiful girl, now my wife Lara. I was already starting to get fed up with all this Satanism, and slowly I began to move away from the guys. But the guys kept going like they were crazy about it. I dissuaded, tried to pull out to the clubs, and even at least where, all to no avail. He quarrels with them under hints that the guys are already adults, but they believe in all sorts of nonsense. After one of these quarrels a month before his death. Although not so, before Sam's suicide, his death was the last, but all 3 occurred within 1 month. He called and invited him to a cafe for a beer. I was surprised at such a sharp and surprising call. In my soul I was even delighted. The meeting was scheduled for 5 o'clock in the evening. I was sitting in a cafe when a guy who only partially resembled the former Sam sat down next to me. Old unwashed things, a hood, red eyes running around, a strange smell. It wasn't hard to guess he was on drugs. But it was not a guess. There were some rumors that the guys were doing a bad job, but until the end he refused to believe it. I ordered beer and pizza. We were silent for a while. I broke the silence. New and under than you, Sam? He tried to start a conversation and therefore said the first thing that came to mind, but it did not work. Instead he began to talk complete nonsense. Max, that's not the point. I came to see you. The guys couldn't, it's not easy for them now, but soon you will see them. We miss you. In short, I came to say that the bottom of my computer box has a double bottom. If something happens, you will find one little thing there, it is intended for you. You will understand everything yourself. I tried to stop him with the words, "What kind of nonsense are you talking about?" He looked around with glassy eyes, then said, "They are already here, they should not see you with me, remember. The lower secret compartment, see you later." Then he jumped up abruptly, dropping his beer on himself, and flew out of the cafe like an arrow. I sat dumbfounded, feeling a dozen eyes of cafe visitors on me. We never met. Exactly a month later he hanged himself. Michael, 5 days before Sam's suicide, threw a rope around his neck, to the end of which he tied any metal, and jumped into the lake from the bridge. Ethan cut himself with a knife. You can't imagine what it was like for me, 3 deaths in a month, and even whose. Guys whom I knew as children. Those whom he cherished as family. I could not sit at the funeral table. After drinking a couple of times, I got up and went out for a smoke. When I came back, I noticed that the door to Sam's room was open. I entered. Posters of my favorite musicians hung on the walls. There was a cup of coffee on the table. As I understood, after his death, no one touched anything. On the nightstand next to the bed was a photograph of the 4 of us fishing. Here I could not hold back my tears. As I was about to leave, I remembered the words about the computer. Having closed the doors, I took out the system unit, unscrewed the cover and began to look for at least something resembling a secret compartment. My surprise knew no bounds. Where he spoke, there really was a double bottom. Inside, I found a notebook with a red cover. Hiding it under my shirt, I went back. Already in the evening, at home, I took it out and began to flip through it. Of the 46, only 18 were filled in, as if he had begun to lead her in the last 2 months of his life. As it turned out later, that was the way it was. Further, I will try to describe in detail the contents of this diary, skipping the unnecessary and logically reducing. The first entry is dated June 5th evening. He said to keep a diary and write down everything that happens to us. If this is not done, we will lose our sense of reality. Yesterday we met with him. He did not give a name, but Necro ordered him to call. Where Ethan found him, I have no idea, but he should help us in our quest to contact otherworldly forces. I wrote something stupid. This phrase pleased me. Sam immediately remembered his words. The next entry was dated 2 days later. June 7th evening. He is a genius. It works. Yesterday I received a letter, in it a place and a method. We all received a letter, somehow in the old-fashioned way. The first place is the house in which a drunken father stabbed his 2 daughters and his wife at night, and hanged himself. I know this place, I read it in the newspaper. The session went great, I saw them. First traces on a thick layer of dust, but they appeared a little later. 2 girls were running around the second floor, I saw them. Small chuckles. Like distant sounds, they tried to talk to me, I didn't make out a word, but the guys were talking with their mother, I saw her too, but I couldn't refuse the girls to play with them. It's crazy on the one hand, but brilliant on the other. There is also a certain nuance, when the action passes, and they disappear, they take on a dying look. Wow, this gives me goosebumps. These little crumbs smiled with a bloody smile. The scars from the cut throat are very distinct. It was even possible to analyze who had it cut evenly. It's real, and God, what an adrenaline rush. I will finish, I'm tired, and I have to prepare, tomorrow the second place, which is indicated in Michael's letter. June 14th evening. It's time to write down here again what I observed. The second place was the bank of the river on the outskirts of the city. According to rumors, it was there that in some years a family was massacred, who came to spend the night on the riverbank. They say it's cursed. After taking this miracle potion, there was nothing for about an hour. As I later found out for myself, more than one family was killed then, because I counted about a dozen of them. They just stood there and looked at us. One man waved his hand, pointing to something, but no one dared to check the indicated place. The withdrawal, I'll call it the after effect of the potion, wasn't all that terrible. Just bloodied things on ghosts. No, I'm lying. There was a terrible moment when the girl, sitting on the masonry, began to put some kind of rope with a stone around her neck. She got up, smiled and jumped. In a moment, I could swear, I saw the waves breaking up in that place. This was the session by the lake. But the most terrible thing was in an abandoned factory, where a maniac built a lair for himself. He lured girls there, raped, then killed with a knife. Already he put the corpses in order, painted, combed, well, he looked after. These details I found out directly during the session. I didn't count the girls, but there were a lot of them. All frightened, they hid in the corners, and whispered something quietly to each other. All even very nothing. I did not want to read this nonsense, but having mastered myself, I continued. June 20th night. I don't know what's going on with me right now. I feel like I sleep all the time. These dreams will kill me. I began to think badly, is it day or night? I think it's night, it's dark outside. What conclusions did I draw for myself? This is dangerous, you should not joke with the unknown that hides that world. Yes, like this. Now I see them, all of them. They speak to me. I learned a lot of interesting things. But I am not allowed to write about it. Ethan and Michael see them too. Well, so do I. I asked. I thought the roof was off, but it wasn't. Well, what else to write? It is hard with them and scary, especially at night when others appear. The delirium of a madman. I characterized for myself this semblance of a diary. And so I came to the last entry. July 3rd Max. Max, if you're reading this, then you have the notebook, and I'm probably dead. I will try to explain the essence of what is written in it. The first thing you have to understand is that it's all real. There are many occasions to see and talk to the dead. This one is for talking to those who have not died naturally. These are harmless souls, they do no harm. You need to find the place where the tragedy happened, mix dope powder with holy water. The dose should be as much as it fits into a small dimple on your arm. This is to see the invisible. So he said, it is imperative to read any prayer, on the contrary, I don't know what it is for. It looks like that's it. So next, there are side effects. If you do this very often, well, make contact, then he will follow you, and at every place where a person died not by natural causes, you will see them. Look like that's it. You ask why I am writing this to you? This is my gift to you. If you help them, they will help you. Most importantly, no more than one contact per year. If you exceed the limit, they will come for you, as well as for me. That's all. Keep your notebook. Because he needs her too. True, I don't know why. Okay, Max, all the best. It's already getting dark. You need to look for a crowded place. It's deadly to stay alone. See you again. This is the last entry in Sam's diary. I don't know if you believe me or not. It's up to you. I still have the diary to this day, but I didn't check anything. I don't need it for nothing.
Thank you for your attention. Subscribe to the channel.